The steakhouse was buzzing with laughter, silverware clinking against plates, and the low hum of business chatter. Daniel Hayes, a single dad in his 30s, was halfway through a modest dinner with his son when he heard it, a soft, trembling voice at his elbow. "Sir, may we have your leftovers?" He turned startled to see two identical little girls, no older than 7, their dresses wrinkled, cheeks hollow from hunger, but their eyes bright with something that cut him deeper than pity. Hope. And behind them, standing just a few steps away, was a woman, their mother. The sight of her froze him in place because it wasn't just her beauty or her desperation. It was the unshakable recognition, the storm of memory and disbelief colliding inside him. What he did next shocked everyone watching. Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos like this. Let's begin. Daniel's fork paused mid-air, the sizzling cut of steak forgotten. His son Tyler, aged 9, glanced from his father to the girls, sensing tension. "Dad," Tyler whispered. The restaurant had gone quieter, the nearby tables pretending not to stare, but their curiosity burning like fire. Two small girls asking for scraps in a place where people dropped $100 without blinking. This wasn't something diners could ignore. Daniel pushed his chair back slowly. The girls flinched as if expecting to be shooed away. Instead, he crouched down to their level, meeting their wide, nervous eyes. "What are your names?" His voice was gentle, steady, not the sharp dismissal they had probably heard too many times before. "I'm Emma," said the braver twin, tugging her sister's sleeve. "This is Ella." Daniel's chest tightened. They were mirror images, same tangled chestnut hair, same oversized shoes, clearly borrowed from someone else. His son shifted uncomfortably, and Daniel knew what Tyler was thinking. "We don't have much either." But then he looked past them at the woman standing frozen by the door. She was maybe late 20s, early 30s, her long dark hair pulled into a messy ponytail, her jacket too thin for the cold outside. Her hands gripped her bag like it was the last anchor she had in the world. And then their eyes met. For a moment, Daniel couldn't breathe because he knew her. Not just the kind of vague recognition that comes from passing someone on the street. He knew her in a way that clawed at his gut. Olivia. His voice cracked on her name. Her lips parted, shock flickering across her tired face. The twins turned to her, confused. "Mom, do you know him?" Whispers rippled through the room. Daniel's pulse thundered in his ears. The woman who had just walked back into his life, the one he never thought he'd see again, was standing there with two starving little girls calling her mom. And in that instant, Daniel had no idea whether well to stand, to walk away, or to pull them all into his arms. Daniel stood, palms open. "You don't need leftovers," he said softly to the twins. "You need dinner, proper dinner." He looked at the host stand. "Can we get a booth?" The host hesitated. The manager, Ty, nodded too tight, started over with a frown. Olivia's shoulders tensed like a spring. "They're with me," Daniel said, voice steady. "My guess." Tyler slid out of his seat and waved the girls over. "I'm Tyler," he said, already pushing his fries to the middle. "You can have like all the crispy ones." Emma and Ella climbed onto the bench like sparrows landing on a branch, cautious and ready to fly. Olivia remained standing, torn between pride and panic. "We can't accept this," she whispered. "We're fine." Daniel caught her eyes. Same striking hazel, he remembered. "Olivia, sit, please." A beat, he softened. "Let me be a good neighbor tonight." She swallowed and sat. Only then did the manager step in. "Sir, this is a private dining section." If Daniel turned, calm but unblinking. "We'll take 2 kids, mac and cheeses, grilled chicken, steamed broccoli, and a hot chocolates all around." He held the man's gaze, put it on my tab. The manager read the room, the stairs, the quiet phones recording, and backed off with a clipped nod. Tyler lifted a fry toward Ella. "These are elite," he said. "She's chef level." She giggled. Emma copied her, and for one beautiful second, the hunger left their faces. Olivia watched them, jaw rigid. "You're Daniel Hayes," she said finally, like the memory scraped her throat on the way out. He nodded, pulse ticking in his neck. And you're Olivia Parker, right? Wells now. She touched the frayed strap of her bag on paper. Anyway, the waiter arrived. Plates, steam, the twin chorus of thank you. Daniel pushed his own plate away and split his steak between small plates without making a scene of it. Tyler slid his ketchup, then unprompted, his napkin. Olivia stared at the sudden abundance like it might disappear in a blink. Why are you doing this? Because someone did it for me once, Daniel said. And because I heard your girls ask for leftovers, he exhaled. That shouldn't happen. Color rose in her cheeks, humiliation fighting relief. She reached for her wallet. The leather was empty, the gesture more habit than hope. She folded her hands. I can't. You don't owe me anything, Daniel said. Eat first. Explanations can come after. Silence settled. Warmer now. Silverware clicked. Tyler told a quick story about a science fair volcano that nearly took out the school's microwave. Emma laughed with her whole face. Ella tucked a strand of hair behind her ear like a tiny adult, savoring each bite. Only when the hot chocolates arrived, steam curling like soft ribbons. Did Olivia speak? I didn't think you'd recognize me, she said. It's been 10 years, Daniel finished, since he stopped, seeing the old bruise of a memory cross her features. Please don't say where, she murmured. Not here. Daniel nodded once. Okay. Not here. He waved the check over and slid his card before the waiter could recite totals. He felt the pull in his chest. Rent due in 6 days, groceries to stretch. But the numbers didn't matter next to the sight of 2 little girls finally full. When the plates were cleared, Olivia fixed him with a look that wasn't gratitude or anger. It was a warning. If you're about to rescue us, she said quietly, don't. The last man who tried almost lost everything. Daniel didn't blink. Then tell me his name. Her eyes flicked to the door, to the street, to the night, pressing its face to the glass. She lowered her voice to a thread. Carter Hale, she said. The name hit Daniel like a cold hand on the back of his neck. He knew it. Everyone in town did. And every instinct he owned told him this dinner was the start of a storm he couldn't ignore. The name hung in the air like smoke. Carter Hale. Daniel's jaw tightened. He'd heard that name in headlines, whispered in town, spat like poison in the Union Hall. Hale wasn't just rich. He was ruthless. Real estate, trucking, warehouses, every business he touched, he hollowed out until people bled. If Olivia was tied to him, no wonder she looked like a woman living on her last nerve. Dad, Tyler tugged his sleeve, sensing the sudden weight. The twins were giggling over marshmallow mustaches from their hot chocolate, oblivious. Daniel forced a smile for the kids. We'll take a walk, he said gently. Outside, the night hit cold and sharp. Olivia zipped her thin jacket. The twins each clutched one of her hands, but their eyes kept darting to Daniel like he was some kind of anchor. Where are you staying? He asked. Olivia hesitated. A shelter, if they have beds, otherwise the bus station. Daniel swore under his breath. With kids? I don't need your pity, she snapped, though her voice cracked on the last word. It's not pity, it's survival. He turned to his son. Ty, you okay with company tonight? Tyler's breath puffed white as he looked at Emma and Ella, then at their mom. His voice was small but steady. Yeah, they can stay. Olivia froze, numbered Daniel. I can't let you can, he cut in. And you will, at least for tonight. You remember me. You know I'm not the kind of man who'd... He stopped himself because the pass between them was a knot too tangled for the sidewalk. Her chin trembled, but she nodded once. At Daniel's small house on the edge of town, warmth and light spilled from the porch as Tyler shoved the door open. The twins gasped at the sight of the old butt. Cozy living room, stacks of books, a patched-up couch, a faded rug Tyler once called their magic carpet. Shoes by the door, Daniel said automatically. The twins obeyed faster than his own son ever had. Tyler ran to fetch blankets. Olivia hovered by the threshold, stiff as glass. You're safe here, Daniel told her. No strings. Her eyes searched his, testing the promise. She exhaled slowly, almost collapsing into the couch. The twins curled up beside her, already drowsy from full stomachs and hot chocolate. Daniel busied himself in the kitchen, pouring tea just to keep his hands moving. He couldn't shake the image of Olivia years ago. Different clothes, different world, same fire in her eyes. And now she looked like a candle fighting not to burn out. "Why him?" Daniel finally asked, setting the mug near her. "Why Hale?" Her laugh was hollow. "Because I thought marrying money meant safety. Instead, it meant prison." She pulled her sleeve back, revealing faint bruises along her wrist. Daniel's throat burned with fury. The twins shifted in their sleep, murmuring softly. Olivia pulled the blanket tighter over them. "I walked out last week," she whispered. "No money, no plan. Just out. I'd rather be broken breathing than stay another night under his roof." Daniel leaned against the counter, fists clenched. He had no idea what tomorrow would bring, what Hale would do when he realized Olivia and the girls were gone. But one thing was clear. This wasn't just about kindness anymore. It was about protection. And Daniel Hayes wasn't going to let Carter Hale or anyone touch Olivia or those girls again. The next morning came with the sharp scent of coffee and the sound of little feet on old wooden floors. Daniel woke to find Emma and Ella at the kitchen table, scribbling with Tyler's crayons. Olivia sat nearby, still in yesterday's jacket, her hair tangled, but her posture finally uncoiled. For the first time since last night, she looked like she was breathing without flinching. But Daniel's gut told him it wouldn't last. The knock on the door confirmed it. Heavy, repeated, the kind of knock that wasn't asking. It was demanding. Daniel froze. Olivia's face drained of color. "It's him," she whispered, barely audible. Daniel motioned for Tyler to take the twins upstairs. Now the kids scattered, little feet creaking on the staircase. Daniel walked to the door, every muscle wound tight. He opened it an inch. A man in a tailored coat stood on the porch. Mid-40s, steel gray hair slicked back, smile sharp as a blade. Two men in black suits flanked him, the type who didn't come to talk. "Daniel Hayes," the man drawled like he already owned the air. "You've got something that belongs to me?" Daniel's grip tightened on the door. "Carter Hale." Hale smirked. "Olivia and my girls. You really think you can hide them in a shack like this?" His eyes flicked past Daniel, scanning the room with predatory ease. "Bring them out and maybe I'll forget you interfered." Daniel stepped fully into the doorway, blocking the view. "They're not yours. They're not things you own." Hale's smile slipped. "Careful, Hayes. You've got a boy, don't you? Tyler, right? Cute kid. Shame if he got caught in someone else's mess." A chill cut through Daniel's veins, colder than the January wind. "You so much as say his name again, and I'll Daniel." Olivia's voice cracked behind him. She stood just a step away, her hand on his arm. Her eyes weren't pleading. They were furious. "Stop. That's what he wants, to drag you into his mud." Hale's gaze flicked to her. "Olivia, sweetheart, you've had your tantrum. Time to come home. The girls need stability," not he swept his hand toward Daniel with disdain. "Charity cases. The twins pee from upstairs. Small faces pale." Hale's voice, cold and cutting, carried up the staircase like a curse. Olivia straightened, her voice iron even through the tremor. "We're not coming back. Not ever." Hale's jaw tightened. For the first time, the polish cracked. "You'll regret this." Daniel stepped forward inches from him. "Get off my porch." The bodyguards shifted, waiting for a signal. For a second, it felt like fists and blood were inevitable. But Hale smiled again, that reptile grin. He raised his hands in mock surrender. "Enjoy your little rescue mission, Hayes. We'll talk again soon." The men turned, tires crunched over gravel. The black SUV disappeared down the road, but the silence it left behind was heavier than any noise. Olivia collapsed into a chair, shaking. The twins ran down, clinging to her sides. Tyler hovered near Daniel, wide-eyed. "What now?" Olivia asked, her voice breaking. Daniel looked out the window, watching the road vanish into bare winter trees. His chest rose and fell like a man preparing for war. "Now," he said, "we fight back on our terms." The following days felt like walking a tight rope over fire. Daniel went to work at the auto shop with a constant knot in his gut, scanning every passing car, every shadow that lingered too long near the lot. At night, he locked every window, double-checked the doors, and kept a baseball bat under the couch. Olivia barely slept, but when she did, it was curled up on the couch with her daughters clinging to her arms like vines, terrified that if they let go, she'd vanish. Carter Hale didn't return right away, but his presence was everywhere. Olivia's phone buzzed with threats. Lawyers' letters stuffed the mailbox. And once, just once, Daniel noticed a black sedan parked at the end of the street. Headlights off, engine humming in the dark. Enough was enough. Daniel called in favors. A friend on the police force, a buddy who handled records at the courthouse, even an old army pal who owed him more than a beer. What they pieced together was ugly. Carter Hale wasn't just cruel, he was crooked. Offshore accounts, shell companies, charitable donations that led to nowhere. And worst, an entire trail of abuse complaints that had never seen daylight because money had buried them. One night, while the twins slept in Tyler's room, surrounded by comic books and Lego towers, Daniel found Olivia at the kitchen table with her head in her hands. "You don't have to do this," she whispered when he laid down the folder of evidence. "He'll destroy you." Daniel leaned closer, voice low but steel hard. "He already tried and he's destroyed enough lives. You want to end this? We do it together." Her eyes filled, but she nodded. For the first time since she'd walked into that steakhouse, fire returned to her face. The showdown came faster than either of them expected. Hale showed up at the auto shop in broad daylight, thinking Daniel would be alone. But Daniel had planned it. The police cruiser was already parked discreetly nearby. Olivia was inside with the detective signing her statement, the bruises on her wrist photographed, her daughter's quiet testimonies recorded. Hale stormed in, suit immaculate arrogance dripping. "Where are they?" he barked. Daniel didn't flinch. "Not yours to ask anymore," Hale sneered. "You think anyone believes her? She's a runaway wife with no money. I own this town." That was when Detective Ramirez stepped out of the back office, badge glinting. "Funny, because according to these records, you don't even own yourself anymore." He nodded toward the stack of files. "Fraud, tax evasion, witness intimidation. You'll be answering for all of it." For the first time, Carter Hale's mask cracked in public, his face flushed, his fists clenched. But before he could lash out, two uniformed officers stepped in behind him. Emma and Ella peeked from the side office, clutching their mother's hands. Olivia walked forward, standing taller than she ever had. Her voice didn't tremble when she said, "We're not afraid of you anymore." Daniel stood beside her, his hand brushing hers, not claiming, just steadying. Together they watched as Hale was cuffed and led out into the daylight, his empire collapsing around him. Weeks later, Daniel's house was louder than ever, kids' laughter echoing down the hall, the smell of Olivia's cooking mixing with grease from his shop rags. Life wasn't easy, but it was theirs and no one could take it away. One evening, as Tyler helped the twins with homework at the table, Olivia stepped onto the porch where Daniel was fixing the screen door. She leaned against the railing, watching him with soft eyes. "You didn't just rescue us," she said quietly. "You reminded me who I was before he broke me." Daniel wiped his hands on a rag, meeting her gaze. "You rescued yourself. I just stood beside you." She smiled faintly, the weight of years lifting from her shoulders. Inside, Emma and Ella's giggles rang out, joined by Tyler's laughter. For the first time in a long time, the sound wasn't edged with fear, and Daniel knew this was just the beginning of something better. Something built not from pity, but from strength, kindness, and the stubborn refusal to let darkness